Welcome everybody to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube today. Hello friends, your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Florio here, joined as always by the Twisted Angel Dee Woodson. Good old MF Michael Fletcher will not be with us this evening due to work commitments beyond his control. I'm not sure where Michael Bullock is. I think he's probably out and about somewhere, but if he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll see him next time. So, yeah, tonight, Monday Night Raw, the go home show for the Royal Rumble, which will be going down this Sunday night. And if I'm going to be honest, it was not as good as last week. I felt that this was a throwaway edition of the show tonight, even though there were some standout moments. Not as many as last week, but still. We started it off with an in-ring segment. We had a rare appearance by our Universal Champion Brock Lesnar, along with his advocate Paul Heyman. They were interrupted by Mr. McMahon, and then they were interrupted by Braun Strowman, and then Finn Balor shows up. All hell breaks loose. Now, don't get me wrong, this was a wonderful segment. But there was something that went down during this segment that really rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm going to be honest with you. I love people. I love blessing people. And I love being a blessing to others. But Mr. McMahon and Paul Heyman said something tonight that really rubbed me the wrong way, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. You made fun of Oklahomans. Still taking shots at Jim Ross, I see? Okay, whatever. But, dude, I mean, he called it hillbilly. Vince McMahon said it was hillbilly land, and Paul Heyman said you're speaking too fast for them. I immediately thought of Dee Woodson when I heard about this. Dee Woodson is a proud Oklahoman. Yes, she may not be there anymore, but you make fun of someone like that, I'm going to come to your defense because that's the man that I am. And quite honestly, I was honestly more offended than Dee was. It's not often I do this, but today was the day that we honored Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And the video package they did, top notch as usual. Because you know how the production team rolls. They're nothing but top notch. But come on, dude. I get it. You're a heel character. I get it. But low blow, dude. Low blow. And I got a major problem with that. A lot of things offend me, but that's the most offended I've been in a long time. Yeah, real tough guy, are you? Real tough guy. So, wanted to get that off my chest real quick. And I'm going to give Dee Woodson the floor here. And I'm going to give her the chance to, let out her frustrations about it. So, because that does need to be addressed. 100% needs to be addressed. We're hard hitting on this show. So, we're going to hit you hard. You want to hit the humans hard? Well, we're going to hit you harder, pal. Punch him in the mouth. We're going to punch you back in the mouth, pal. Simple as that. So, simply disgusting as far as I'm concerned. As far as the segment is concerned, this to me was the segment of the night, though. It was a top-notch segment. Heyman did, as Vince said, by playing up the idea of Finn Balor being a threat, and then, Vinnie Mac shook up that formula by mocking the thought of Balor actually winning. Balor cut a great promo here. He delivered his lines with poise and had the live crowd solidly behind him. And my excitement level for this match actually just went up a little bit. It's making me look forward to the match more than I was going in. So mission accomplished when it comes to this guy right here. So, and it led into a match with Finn Balor squaring off against Braun Strowman. Finn Balor wins the match, 7 minutes and 35 seconds via a disqualification, outside interference by Brock Lesnar. So, yeah, okay. It's an automatic NA, if I'm going to be honest. I have a feeling Brock Lesnar is going to go over on Sunday, but there is a way for Balor to gain something in defeat. And I love that they dedicated the first 30 minutes of the show to building up that match. And they did a very nice job of doing so. I mean, there is a possibility that we could get Lesnar and Strowman at WrestleMania. I know some might not want to see it, but, you know, they obviously still have time to heat it up for WrestleMania, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see how it all goes down. So the match is an automatic NA because of the DQ finish. It was only like a 2 to 2.5 at best if I was going to give a rating, but that's it. So there's really nothing more to say on that. So Didi Whitson, come on in. I mean, the segment was wonderful. It was a great segment. I mean, a lot came out of it, but to be honest, that cheap shot they took at the Oklahomans made me think of you, and quite honestly, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. Be a star, guys. Your little crock of a program, that Be a Star thing, that's beyond crock. So, McMahon and Heyman, before I let D loose on you, be a damn star. It's not that hard. You can be a blessing to others. I am, and I'm damn proud of it. Didi Whitson, go ahead.
Oh, boy. Yeah, Anthony, I think, partially already knows how this is going to go. Because I did message him on Facebook shortly after the little speech. Yeah, the segment, if you cut out this little segment here of the whole segment, it was a good segment. Very well done. Very well in building up the match for the pay-per-view. The match itself was good up until the DQ finish. No issues with that. But, yeah. Vince and Heyman, not too sure if you've heard about my woodshed out back with the checkered apron. But, you two having a little appointment with me out there. And I guarantee you, by the time I get done with you, you won't be making it to the pay-per-view.
Come on, somebody.
Lesnar's going to be going by himself out there because there won't be no Paul Heyman. There won't be no Vince McMahon hanging out anymore. Because the two of you guys just... Let's put it this way. Anthony, you remember the segment, I think it was the Spirit Squad that did the poop shower?
Oh, yeah. 2006. I remember that very vividly. D-Generation X.
Yeah.
Chow with the Spirit Squad, yeah, along with Vince and Shane.
Well, I think Vince needs another one. And we're going to drag Heyman out there with him.
Let's get the champ under there, too, while you're at it, sitting at home counting his money.
Yeah, he's not worth 2 cents himself. And I'm so glad they didn't go the way I thought they were going to go, because I thought they were going to turn this into a triple threat for the pay-per-view, and I'm glad they didn't do it. Although, you never know. They could change it at the pay-per-view. Cards are always changed at the pay-per-views. And put Strowman and Balor in there. But let's keep it one-on-one, and let's see Balor actually take down Lesnar. But as for these two, one thing you don't do is you don't go to a place like Oklahoma, where we had one of the biggest names that come out of at least Claremore, Oklahoma, was Will, who basically never met a man he didn't like. Roping Cowboy. I guarantee you, if he would have heard these two, not only would they have been tied up in his lasso, these would probably be the first two men he would probably never have liked. You don't go to Oklahoma. You don't insult Oklahoma. No. You may not like JR. You may not like some of the other idiots who's come out of Oklahoma, because there's been a few. But you certainly do not go to a state like that and expect a warm reception, calling them hillbillies and treating us like we're stupid. No way. Forget it. We'll go find the Oklahoma Thunder and let them use you two as basketballs. How about that? Mr. Corncob Butt? Do I need to come out in there with a bar of lava and wash out your mouth? And then stick the lava up the other one's rear end? No, I'm not in a good mood. No, I'm not happy about it. You two piss me off, and you're lucky I'm still watching your product after the insults you threw out tonight. Which there's one more that I'm going to probably lash out a little bit later on in the evening, too. So be prepared for that, because he's the next one that's going to be going out behind the woodshed and probably getting a belt after his butt. So I'm cutting it off right there before I just go ballistic, because right now I'm seeing red. That's all there is to it. I'm seeing red. So let's move on before I really lose it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So, hard to move on, but we have to. So, and of course, we have cutouts. And unfortunately, we had a lot more than last week. Last week, I believe we only had like 2. This time around, we had a lot more. And a 2-for-1 cutout. We had the new Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Bobby Lashley, along with his little Muppet Idjit friend, Lio Rush. And they were going to have Bobby Lashley basically channel his inner narcissist, Lex Luger, and do a I love me some me pose off, please. And then you bring Apollo Crews out. I'm like, okay, this might have potential. No. The little Idjit decides to, he says, hey, how about you and Bobby Lashley compete in a basically a super pose down, if you will. Super pose downs have never really abided well by me. The only real exception was the Warrior and Rude one 30 years ago at the Royal Rumble. But I remember Triple H and Scott Steiner had a little pose down late 2002, hyping their Rumble match. And now this one. And yeah, I'm not even gonna, dignify it with a comment. And then it led into a match, a non-title match with Lashley and Crews. Bobby Lashley goes over in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And yeah, that was a wasted effort. I mean, yes, Apollo Crews finally got a little something, and he couldn't power up the Mammoth Lashley the first time around. Tough break. So we'll see what happens with that. So then we had Seth Rollins cut a promo, which was a great one. And then he was interrupted by his opponent this evening, Drew McIntyre, and he cuts an equally great promo. And then it leads into a match. Seth Rollins against Drew McIntyre. Winner of the match in 13 minutes and 55 seconds, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins wins the match. Edie Whitson, I don't think there's any doubt about this. Without question, this was the fight of the night, hands down.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm going to give it 3 1/4 to 4 stars. I mean, it was a very well done match. These guys, I mean, they went toe to toe. They took it, to the limits. And even though these guys don't have a one-on-one at the pay-per-view, I mean, this was a nice little, showing for the actual Royal Rumble, because we know they're both in that. Of course, they did talk about it a little bit, but yeah, I mean, this was very well done. McIntyre, I mean, he brought his A game, but of course, nothing could stop Rollins. He was on fire tonight. He showed exactly what he's all about. I mean, he's burning it down. He's taking out that frustration he has from Ambrose and, using it to his advantage to take out whatever opponent they throw in front of him, which tonight just happened to have been, McIntyre. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. I'll toss it over to you.
3.5 to 4, Didi. That's the correct rating for this. The usual good match from these two. I'm surprised they're giving their matches away now rather than saving them for somewhere down the road where they could be even more meaningful. So, yeah, great near falls, good action. It was almost as good as the great match we saw on last week's SmackDown Live with Andrade and Rey Mysterio. It kind of had that feel, but it is what it is. So that's all I can say on that. So 3.5 to 4. Another cutout here. Oh yeah, here's a 6-man tag team match that's gonna put some butts in the seats. Yeah, right. The Lucha House Party against Jinder Mahal and the Jabroni Squad. Yeah, is that gonna put some butts in the seats? No, absolutely not.
Okay, how does Jinder get into this match when everybody there's cruiserweights but him?
That's a great question. Great question. 3 minutes and 10 seconds, Lucha House Party wins the bout. So that's something we're not even going to dignify. But yeah, so let's move on. Yeah, more stuff. Elias did his usual songs, and then Baron Corbin comes out, and I know where Didi Whitson was going with her rant. It wasn't just Vince McMahon and Paul Heyman who took a shot at the Oklahomans. Constable Bleep Face, as I call him, and he not only goes after Elias, but he said Vince was right, and they're a bunch of hillbillies in Oklahoma. And then Elias and Corbin went back and forth about whether Elias would do his song, and they go at it, and then it leads into a match. Baron Corbin wins the match over Elias. I don't have a time of the fall. Quite frankly, who cares? And they doubled down on Corbin pinning Elias. The broadcast team pointed out that the little punch to the throat, but Cole labeled it a cheap shot while Graves called it resourceful. They're trying to protect Elias, but his losses to Corbin are oddly stacking up, and that doesn't sit well with me. So, Didi Whitson, I think I know where. I understand you were gonna call someone out, and I think we all know. I think you're about to call out Constable Bleep Face, as I refer to him.
I'm not even going to call him Constable. He's just a pain in the you-know-where.
Another idiot.
Yeah, he's another idiot who my knee's going to meet his jewels one of these days. Just like Heyman and Vince. They keep up this crap, they're definitely going to be singing soprano. I'll keep it that short and sweet for you.
Please. I know you could go all night doing that, but that's all. Let's just move on. We move on to the newest installment of A Moment of Bliss, and Alexa Bliss basically read off the list of names that will be competing in the Women's Royal Rumble match. She had a guest, and her scheduled guest was her quote-unquote frenemy, if you will, Nia Jax. And then Ember Moon comes out. She cuts a she talks about her rebuttal, and then Alicia Fox comes out. That's basically a rebuttal from her, and then Mickie James with a rebuttal, and then pretty much the entire Raw Women's division came out. The Riot Squad and Dana Brooke, Nikki Cross, Tamina, and then Alexa Bliss, basically barks at all of them and saying, "Stop it, stop fighting. This is my show," and calm down. And then of course all the hell breaks loose, and then Lacey Evans comes out and she cuts her first little promo as a main roster competitor. And then we end it with Alexa Bliss announcing that she is going to enter the Women's Royal Rumble match.
Actually, she said it before Lacey came out.
Right. But nonetheless, I wanted to save that for last. But
yeah. I liked Lacey's little comment, though, to Alexa Bliss.
Yeah. She called the other women classless little girls and said the winner of the Rumble won't be a sawed-off little girly runt. It will be her, a classy, sophisticated lady. And Alexa just glared at Lacey, who walked away. But
oh, I can see a nice little battle going on with these two. A nice little rivalry.
That could be that would be a great first feud for Lacey Evans, absolutely, especially if they sign her to Monday Night Raw. She's not exclusive yet. You remember the edict remember the little edict that was put out.
Yep.
The new call-ups are gonna compete on both shows, and then eventually a decision will be made as to which show they will be permanently exclusive to. So,
yep.
But if you put Lacey on Raw, I mean, that would definitely. And you put her with Alexa Bliss, I mean, that would be a great first feud, because I don't think Alexa Bliss is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble match. I mean, she certainly should be considered a favorite, like her or not. But in all honesty, it's between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, hands down. We'll get more into that on Friday night. And yes, that is official for Friday night. Derek Ferreira, I messaged Derek and he confirmed that, but I'll get into that at the end. But for right now, I know some didn't really like the segment, but, I thought it was a fine segment, until, I mean, it was lousy for the most part, but until Alexa made the announcement that she's going to be in the Rumble match and Lacey got involved. And if she's going to be in the Rumble match, it obviously means she's been cleared, because, she's been out for quite some time because, she had a concussion, and I guess she's finally been cleared to compete. So maybe this will finally put the Moment of Bliss on hiatus for right now, and that she'll be back in the ring for good. We'll wait and see. Lacey, like Dee said, was good here. Clearly the heel. And you got to imagine Alexa came up like the babyface, because when Alexa announced that she was going to compete in the Rumble match, she got a big pop. She got the biggest reaction of the segment. So was it the best segment? No, but Alexa announcing her participation in the Women's Royal Rumble match, that was the only thing that really, was newsworthy, along with Lacey Evans. So, and Dee, you pretty much had your say. You like Lacey's promo. And I know you're not the biggest Alexa fan. I mean, I know she's number one on your hit list, but hey, at least her being in the Rumble match, I mean, that just made it a little more exciting.
A little.
All right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see actually how much WWE actually lets her do in the Rumble, because they're still kind of protecting her. They're still kind of protecting Strowman, even though he had a match tonight. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. We'll see what happens indeed. And then we had the Monday Night Raw debut of Heavy Machinery, Otis Dozovich and All Night Tucker Knight. They went up against the Ascension. Heavy Machinery goes over in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Basically, we all know what this was. It was just basically a showcase for Heavy Machinery. That's all there is to it. So we'll see what happens. Tag team titles on the line. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable against the Revival. Special guest referee Kurt Hawkins. Winners of the match and still the Raw Tag Team Champions, Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. And all I can say right now is I really feel that, by having Hawkins as the referee, I think this was their little shot at, the controversy from yesterday's NFC Championship game with that horrific missed call. And Kurt Hawkins was actually praised for his refereeing here, because the Revival so many times during the bout tried to cheat their way to victory, but Kurt Hawkins wasn't having it, and and Chad Gable gets the win. So Didi Woodson, anything stand out to you with this?
Yeah, Hawkins did do a great job as referee. You know, he what kind of surprised me was him going over talking to him about, you know, holding the little tag rope, and at the end actually doing a replay to show the Revival everything they did wrong. I mean, that's something that you don't usually see in WWE, is them pointing out, okay, that you see you did this wrong, and you did that wrong, and you did that wrong, and that's why you didn't win. And then when they attack Hawkins, here you have Zack Ryder coming out to the rescue. Mr. Io was only on for 2018 once for the whole year, finally coming out, and it looks like they are rekindling their tag team, so we'll see what happens with that, because they could be eventually going up against Rude and Gable. Going back to the heavy machinery match, though, when did the Ascension screw up so bad that they became jobbers? I thought they were pretty good when they first started. Now all of a sudden they're just jobbers.
Once upon a time, correct me if I'm wrong, weren't the Ascension the longest NXT Tag Team Champions of all time down there?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I mean,
that basically shows you. Well, here's the thing. It's still Mr. McDinkleberg and his buck-tooth beaver buddy, Kevin Dunn, who are still running things.
Yeah, you all remember that they said the fans, the universe is in charge. Nope. Have you seen much of a change?
Still a crock.
Not really. Yes, we have some new talent come in. We've had a few new matchups.
Still the same old stuff. It's still repetitive.
Yeah, it's still crap. And
still repetitive, and
still running their mouths, still acting like idiots, still writing as if the sheep and the monkey riders were all still in the boardroom saying, this is what we're going to do, so let's do it. So, yeah. Okay, whatever.
It's not the monkey riders. It's the fickle, mindless sheep riders. That's what we have now.
Well, I did put sheep and monkeys both in there, so yeah, it's
right.
It's all of them together. I mean, it's you've got the stupid monkey of Vince McMahon, and then the stupid fickle sheep of Dunn button heads saying this is what would be a good product, when basically we all know
Triple H would do better.
Oh yeah. Vince is doing all this. I think he's doing all this just because he wants to get back in the football business, instead of handing it over to the kids that are a lot more responsible and want to see this prosper, and let him go do his own thing.
Well, next year, 1 year from now, the XFL will be returning. And
yep. So let's get Vince out of the picture. Let him go do his XFL thing that he wants to do. Let Triple H and Shane and Stephanie take over and run the product the way it's supposed to be run, and not all this BS that we're got. So,
anyways,
yeah,
I'll call this the sleeper fight of the night. I'll give this 2.5 stars. You know, it was fine for what it was. Kurt Hawkins, a hero for enforcing the tag rope rules. And, you know, I would love to see the WWE honor the Revival's request. You know, the Revival recently asked for their release from the company because they were beyond frustrated with the direction of the Raw Tag Team division. And quite frankly, I don't blame them, because our tag team division is a damn joke. Whereas SmackDown Live, far superior. So we all know. And they damn sure deserves to win that match at Survivor Series. But
I don't even think I rated this.
I'm not holding my breath at this point. But there was one other standout moment.
Yeah.
Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. You remember Once Upon a Time, they were the Major Brothers, and they were also the Edge heads when they were running around with Edge as part of La Familia back in the day. But former tag team champions. But at this point, why not? We'll see what happens. So that's all I say there. And then the main event of the evening, the women's tag team matchup, Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey and Natalya squaring off against Sasha Banks and Bayley. And Sasha and Bayley win the match 11 minutes and 45 seconds. Sasha with the Banks statement on Natalya for the win. To me, second best fight of the night. I'm going to give this a solid 3.25 stars. The right team most certainly went over here. Yes, it was predictable, but Sasha really needed to win more. It doesn't change the fact that fans view her and Finn Balor as heavy underdogs going into their matches on Sunday night. The Rumble match sells the Rumble most years, and I suppose it's no different. But WWE did not do a good job of building up the Rumble matches the way they normally do. So, but, you know, it was a solid match, and Sasha and Ronda got in their faces, and that's all we can say on that. But the pre-match promo by both ladies were great. I mean, especially Sasha. I mean, she really didn't hold anything back. She got into Ronda's face. It was great. So that's really all I can say on this. Definitely second best fight of the night, 3 to 3.25 stars. Very much looking forward to the match on Sunday night. So nothing more to say on that. Didi, what's in your thoughts on this main event?
I'll agree with the rating. As for the Revival match, I don't even think I rated it, so because we got on a tangent. But I'll agree with the rating on both of them. So yeah, it was a very well done match, and I think they also kind of gave us a little taste of, Sasha a little bit as heelish. I mean, she came off kind of in the heel type way tonight compared to what she usually does. Because I mean, since they put her with Bayley, they've kind of, made her this peppy little, peppy little partner that she's got. But tonight, since this was leading into, that women's title match, she came off a little bit more heelish and a little, you could see the fire behind her eyes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take you to the limits. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do this and this and this. And, Rousey, the last couple of interviews she's had and everything, she stumbled over her words and everything. And, of course, she did it again tonight in the interview before the match, where Banks, she's right there on her mark. She knows what she's doing. And, I think this was exactly what they needed. They needed to have her come out on top tonight. They needed to show that, she is the same champion that she was all those times before when she was champion. Because here she's going up against a woman who's like a 4-time crowning champ in 4 different divisions. So yeah, this is a big step for Sasha Banks, and this is a big match she has coming up. So yeah, definitely what they needed tonight, and ending it with them in each other's face was, that was just perfect. That's just the way they needed to do it. So not much more I had to say about it. I'll toss it back to you.
And we are going to go into our overall review of this show this evening. So, Didi Whitson, yeah, it wasn't the best show, but it wasn't the worst either. But it definitely was not as amazing as last week's show. Last week's show was incredible. This time around, it was pretty much back to reality. Another, okay, but not overly spectacular show.
Yeah.
Damn shame.
Yeah, definitely. Here we were having some good stuff that was just starting to come out of Raw, and then Vince steps back in, and all HELL happens. And I'm not going to rehash the rants, although we all know how I feel about the three particular individuals that kind of ruined this, my outlook on Raw tonight, because I could hit this really low just for that, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be sensible. I'm going to hit it with about 6 stars, but it's taking a hit partially because of that, partially because of all the cutouts, partially because we're all sick and tired of seeing Elias and Corbin. What else? And the stupid house party with Jinder and the Singh brothers. I mean, come on, give us a break. We don't need that crap.
We don't.
We don't. That's stupid. I mean, why? Why? You guys got a lot of explaining to do. And then you made basically the Intercontinental title tonight a joke, doing this posing crap. I mean, who wants to sit there and watch Bobby Lashley sit there and do all these freaking poses and then have Apollo Crews out there trying to do the same poses? Yeah, he's a little bit smaller of a guy. He's not built as well as Bobby Lashley, but he did, I'm with Renee. He did a good job for, what it was worth, but still, that was stupid. And I've said this before when they had Alexa Bliss in charge. Why do we have managers and stuff making matches? You can't fight Bobby Lashley till you win a pose off. What? I'm sorry. This was just, it's crap. But like I said, because of a few matches that were pretty good, and Finn and Braun was going really good until Brock Lesnar came in. So I'm even counting that stuff before Brock interfered. It was going really well. Then you shoot us with the blast from last year. Reminders. Sorry. One of your worst go-home shows, and the worst way to start off for Royal Rumble, your flagship pay-per-view for the first of the year. Your very first pay-per-view of the year, and you're going to give us crap on a go-home show. Sorry. You're not going to get any love from this Oklahoman because you already insulted me, so that's it. I'm done.
Well, don't forget, tomorrow night, 10 p.m., Cerebral Smack Talk. Didi, MF informed me, so it's 10 p.m. after SmackDown.
No problems there.
And then Friday night, we're going to have our NXT TakeOver Phoenix and Royal Rumble preview show.
What time?
Usual time, 10:30 or so.
Okay. Well, then I will see you tomorrow night, then Friday night, then Sunday night. So.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Good night, guys.
All right, I'm gonna take the show for the rest of the way here. So, yeah, I agree. 6 out of 10 for me. The opening match, the closing match, and Rollins and McIntyre were the highlights of the night. Again, though, I mean, like Didi said, they just didn't sell us on this year's Rumble matches, even though the men's Rumble has traditionally been one of our favorite moments of the year. We'll see what they do tomorrow night on SmackDown Live. But the build to the Rumble, subpar, especially on this show tonight. So, Didi, you nailed it. So that's all I can say on that. We're going to give that we'll give that a solid 6 out of 10 for the effort. I mean, it wasn't the worst, but it wasn't exactly the best either. I mean, last week's show was incredible. But this time around, no. Sorry. So, with all that being said, let's get into the Tony's take here, and yeah, we had 205 Live. We also had Impact Wrestling, and it was. I don't have a formal review. I'm just gonna go over what happened on the shows. Lio Rush cut a promo and had a little promo segment, and then he got interrupted by the Lucha House Party, and all hell breaks loose, and then Lio Rush and Lince Dorado went at it. Lio Rush won the match. A lot of backstage in-ring, a lot of backstage stuff. I mean, there was some promo work, and Buddy Murphy against some young man named Humberto Carrillo. So that's all we can say on that. So that didn't really look like a good show, but Atami, Tozawa, and Kalisto are going to have a three-way on this show, on the next show, so that could be interesting. So we'll just park it there. Impact Wrestling is now on the Pursuit channel, as we all know, and just bear with me for a minute. Okay. And then we had KM against Caleb Connolly. Went to a no contest. Falaba and Brian Cage, a lot of stuff goes down. And then from there, Brian Cage with a segment called out Moose, wanted a match, he got it, and we'll get into that after. Ethan Page went up against Eddie Edwards, and Ethan Page actually picks up the win. And then from there we had OVE, trying to get Rich Swann to join them. Trey Miguel had a little segment. Scarlett Bordeaux announcing herself as the winner of the talent search, and she'll make her in-ring debut for Impact very soon. Jordynne Grace against Allie, or Dark Allie. Jordynne Grace won that match. Brian Cage against Moose. I believe that was in the main event. Brian Cage went over in that one. And then we had a Taya Valkyrie segment talking regarding Tessa Blanchard, and Killer Cross had a segment. Tessa Blanchard had a segment, and then she attacked Gail Kim, and she got suspended for it. And then we had Rich Swann against Trey Miguel. Rich Swann picked up the win there. And then LAX against OVE. LAX goes over. So that's pretty much what happened on Impact Wrestling. And then as far as the spoilers are concerned, what we can expect on the next show, which will be on Friday night, we had Trey Miguel against Ethan Page, Rich Swann against El Hijo del Vikingo, the Rascals against the Desi Hit Squad, Taya Valkyrie against some girl named Kira, I guess, not to be confused with Kira Hogan, and then Johnny Impact and Killer Cross for the World Heavyweight Championship, and that's pretty much it. So that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Tomorrow night at 10 p.m. over on MF's channel, Race Fan 95, we have the Cerebral Smack Talk. We'll review SmackDown Live, and MF has, I believe, SCF Rumble results as part of his Mikey's Mindset, and that's pretty much going to be it on that. Friday night, it will not be strictly sports. It will be a very special edition of the Wrestling Forum as we are going to preview NXT TakeOver Phoenix and the Royal Rumble. And then Sunday night, we'll have the recap with MF. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for Surreal Smack Talk over on MF, channel base 395. It's Anthony Floyo here saying, you know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, what's your port style. But for now, my friends, God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyo, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.